Now that we're building, we are at the point where it's very important to talk about the lost ones. Say the lost ones. Because what we had has happened in this world is what's called the biggest identity theft ever to happen in mankind history. Right? What has happened is some people have stolen what was ours. Right? What has happened is Esau, and I'm not, in no way, we don't believe white man is Esau, because you got some black Edomites too. That's a whole nother lesson we get into. But what has happened is, just as Jacob took the birthright from Esau, Esau has attempted to try to take that birthright back away from Jacob. Right? And we have to deal with that, right? Now, this lesson will hopefully, if you have family members that's in the faith, you don't feel like explaining to them, sometimes you get tired. Like, bro, I'm not talking about it no more. That's just me. Bro, I'm not talking about it no more. If you don't get it, go ahead. Because I get tired of, it's right there. The Bible say it, bro. What do you... Well, I don't interpret it like that. Bro, I didn't ask you to interpret the scripture. I told you to read it. Just read it. What does it say? Right? They want to get all, because they went to seminary. They just, they got to exegete and, nah, bro. That stuff is important to a certain extent. But sometimes all you got to do is just read, right? What's the famous saying Miss Brown told? Reading is detrimental to your ignorance, right? In layman's terms, it's very hard to be stupid if you read. That's why the Bible says, my people perish for lack of knowledge, right? They had an incident in New York, when I lived in New York, where a millionaire put a blank check inside of a book. Blank check, millionaire. Put it inside of a book, threw the book in the middle of the inner city. He came back 3 weeks later, that book was still there, with the blank check in it. Because they say if you want to hide something from a black person, where you put it in a book. But that ain't so true nowadays no more. Because we read it, right? Right. We read it. So now they try to figure out other places. Oh man, they read, they scared. They get scared when you read. They get scared when you get educated. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. They get scared when the people in general, because guess what? We not the only people that has been deceived. Right. Other nations, the Bible says other nations are going to come and say, we inherited lies from our fathers. Right. Right. Don't think every Jewish person knows that they not the people. That's not true. Because they are in deception just like you was in deception. Right. And our duty is to be that light to the world so that we may have this gospel reach the four corners. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So let's dig. The lost ones, hidden in plain sight. So, we're going to build a foundation, right? We're going to talk about some things. Before we explain who we are, we got to also debunk the people who saying they're the people. So one thing we're going to deal with, we are going to definitely, y'all know we're dealing with the scripts, right? Because it wouldn't be facts if it wasn't with the scripts, right? Another thing we are going to deal with is history. Say history. History is very important. The Bible is history. The Bible is not only history, but it's future also. That's how powerful the book is, right? The Most High said, I have declared the end from the beginning, right? So, we are going to talk about history. Now, one way of my whole wake up into the truth was, first step where I started to wake up is I started to ask questions. Right. The stuff didn't make sense to me. And because the way I was taught, I just spiritualized it. Well, the Most High don't want us to know certain things. But then I read James, you ask people, well, you don't question God because he knows all things. But the Bible tells us different. The Bible actually tells us if any man lacks wisdom, let him ask. Let somebody say ask. Ask of the Most High, and he will freely give it. So the Most High is looking to give out information. But he's only looking to give out information for those that ask. Let somebody say ask. Ask is an acronym, as Mashiach put it, ASK, ask, seek, knock. And it shall be opened up unto you. Hallelujah. All right, let's dig. Deuteronomy chapter 28. Now, this is not the only scripture that proves who we are. There are many scriptures. So I'm going to just, I'm going to narrow it down. I'm not going to go too deep, but we're going to lay the surface because I know that there are many within our city who just came out of the church. I mean, like yesterday, right? Right. Because you understand, when you came over to the truth, you wasn't just full-blown, I'm over here. Some of us going to church still, a little bit on Sunday. Right. And I'm going to go here. So don't be trying to beat nobody down because they did. Let somebody say, take your time. Over here, we take our time, right? We not rushing. You don't have to know everything this person knows. Because guess what? I can't teach you everything because there's some things I'm going to learn from each and every one of you. Hallelujah. So be patient. Say patient. All right, let me go. Deuteronomy 28. Not only is there other scripts that prove who we are, but there's also other books. Say books. Books that they took out, right? They took those books out not because they couldn't fit them in a book, but because they wanted to hide something. Right? They call the time frame from Malachi to Matthew the silent years. Right? Yeah, right. They call it the silent years because they took out the book of Maccabees. Right? Now, I don't know if some of the Christian folk gonna like this. They might cut the video. Don't cut it off yet, just wait. Right? I'm gonna explain. Right? Because in all actuality, the book of Matthew was even the first book written in the Berea shop. So what do you mean silent years between that? And then who wrote that page that separated the new quote-unquote Old Testament and quote-unquote New Testament? Where it said New Testament. Who wrote that page? What apostle wrote that page? None. Did somebody say none? Because they didn't look at the book as separate. As a matter of fact, they didn't even have the Berea shop when they walked earth. We already know that. So we have to look into things for ourselves to find out for ourselves so that we may learn. Hallelujah. Deuteronomy chapter 28, all right? We're going to read verses 1 through 2, and we're going to skip down to 15 and then 45. But these are the main verses within this chapter that I want to lay the foundation with, and we're going to go in depth. Hallelujah. And it shall come to pass that if thou shalt hearken diligently, say diligently, diligently unto the voice of Yahuwah, thy Elohim, to observe and to do all his commandments. Now, for I may say Yahuwah, that's, I use the Lord, or Elohim, God. You can use God, use Lord. We ain't going to kick you out for that. Just everybody learn. Hallelujah. To observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that Yahuwah thy Elohim will set thee on high above some nations, a few nations. All nations. Man, that sounds like a prejudice Most High, don't it? Yep. Because when we say it, that's what the Most High said. Verse 2. And all, let somebody say all. All these blessings shall come on thee and overtake thee if. Let somebody say if. If is the biggest small word in the Bible, right? Because that means it's contingent upon something, right? If thou shalt hearken unto the voice of Yahuwah thy Elohim. But, verse 15, it shall come to pass that if, look, somebody say if. There's that word again. If thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all, look, somebody say all. Not some, not just the 10 commandments, not just this part and leave this part, because the word of God is not a buffet. You can't pick and choose what to eat from it, right? We know the word is like your mama fixing a plate and saying eat everything from it, and you don't move from this table till it's done. Hallelujah. To observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses, let somebody say all these curses. All of these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. 45. Moreover, verse 45, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee. So these curses ain't just falling on you. These curses going to be chasing you. That's why you always think, man, why is it that we can never do this? Why is it that we can never? Because the curses was chasing you when you were in disobedience. Let somebody say disobedience. Well, I was in the church. I was in the choir. Don't matter. You was in a law-breaking system. Because that's a dividing factor. You can do all this, but if you don't follow the laws, statutes, and commandments, Israel, let somebody say Israel. The curse is going to chase you. But my Hispanic friend, my white friend, he in the same church, he getting blessed. The curses was written to you, Israel. Let somebody say you. So it applies to you. That's why when you were in the church, you felt like, man, this is my breakthrough, everything, the cankerworm and the grasshopper, triple for your nickel, right? Shine for your dime, right? Holler for your dollar. Cliches, that's all they preaching is cliches, right? You ask somebody what they preach. Oh man, he preached, man, he was rhyming, he was good. I don't know what he preached, but man, it was emotions. That's what they tapping into your emotions, their emotions. So, moreover, all these curses shall come upon thee and shall pursue thee and overtake thee till thou be destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of the Lord thy God to keep his commandments and his statutes which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and a wonder. That's why you wondering, dang, we got it this bad? Gosh, y'all, every time I get together is drama. Because it's going to be a sign and for a wonder upon thy seed just until tomorrow. Just until Mashiach comes. Well, just until the church get in this place and then Israel is done, then the curse. Oh, somebody say forever. Now, I went and looked up forever. Forever means forever. Say forever. That's what it means. It means forever. You thought I was going to say something deep, bro. Nah, forever means forever, no matter what. Perpetual, forever. Look at somebody say forever. So, go ahead. Let's keep building. Jeremiah, chapter 17, verses 1 through 4. The sin of Judah is written with the pen of iron and with the point of a diamond. It is graven upon the table of their heart and upon the horns of your altars. Whilst their children remember their... So, it is graven upon the table of their heart and upon the horns of your altars. Whilst their children remember their altars and their graves by the green trees upon the high hills. O my mountain in the field, I will give thy substance and all thy treasures to the spoil, and thy high places for sin throughout all thy borders. Verse 4. And thou, even thyself, this is a sign that's going to be unto Israel, shall discontinue from thine heritage that I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in a land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever. So the Most High prophesied that Israel will go into a land that they did not know, a language that they did not speak, and they will lose their identity. That sounds familiar, huh? Man, I wonder who. Let's keep digging. Go ahead, Al. Revelation chapter 2 and 9. We're still laying the foundation. This is important, see, because the church will make this seem like it's talking to the church, but you have to understand the word church was no mention back in the disciples' days. It was called the assembly. It was called the called out ones, right? It was not the word church. Church actually comes from certain. which we'll do a lesson on that one day, you know. But Maury Josh did an excellent lesson on it. I mean, he tore it down. And we have to pay attention to certain wordings because they can deceive us. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Revelation chapter 2 and 9. Right? Shabbat Shalom. This is my beautiful grandmother and my aunt right here. They came up and surprised me. Yes, that really is my grandmother. She looks 25 right there. And no, that lady is not my sister. That's my auntie right there. So, Revelation chapter 2 and 9. Let's see what Mashiach is saying. He said, I know thy works. He's talking to the assembly. He's talking to the called out ones. He is not talking to the church. There was no message given to the church. I know that's shocking, but we're going to keep going. I know thy works and thy tribulation. So he's talking about a people that was going to be in tribulation. And poverty. Say poverty. But watch what he say after he say poverty. Because he has to remind these people, but thou art rich. Right? You know, in church we spiritualize that. And I know the blasphemy. Say blasphemy. Blasphemy. The blasphemy of them which say they are Jews and are not, but are the synagogue of Satan. Now, you have to understand, this is Revelation. This is talking about the end times, the last days. Let's dig and see if we can find something else. Revelations 3 and 9. Behold, he's saying it again. He's not talking to a specific church. He's talking to the assembly, the called out ones. I will make them of the synagogue of Satan, which say that they are Jews and are not, but do lie. So that means in this time, there's going to be a people who's claiming to be the people that's really not the people. Right. Okay. I mean, you think about it, this system that, I mean, they smart people though. Don't get it wrong now. Don't be so crazy you just want to just, you know, as soon as you see the Jews, right, you're going to cuss them out. You ain't right. Because you're going to learn a lot from them. Right? Now, you know, they do some little stuff crooked, but, you know, some of us do some stuff crooked too. Hallelujah. But you're going to learn a lot from it. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, okay? So, that say they are Jews and are not, but do lie. Behold, this is Mashiach still encouraging his people. I will make them to come worship before thy feet and know that I have loved thee. So this is the time where Mashiach is telling, in this time, there's going to be a people that's not going to feel love. It's not going to feel. It's going to be shocking. You know how shocking it's going to be? You know how shocked you was when you found out who you was? You know, some of you, you know, you went through that anger part where you was trying to hate all white people, all right. We go through those stages, but you grow and you mature. Hallelujah. So you know how shocked the world is going to be? You know how shocked the world is going to be when Mashiach come back? And he a dark-skinned brother? Folks is going to what the Bible say, they going to ask the rocks to fall off. We never understood why, but you know why, all right? Not this nigga, no. I heard one black preacher, which, brother, gotta be careful. This man, I ain't gonna say his name. This man sit up here and said, he said, I don't want nothing black in heaven. He sure did. This was a black man. A preacher. I don't want nothing black in heaven. I don't want my Mashiach to be black, because that means he's gonna be coming back late. Okay. That was funny. But that ain't true. We got to be careful. There's a way to stay in eternal ignorance. I'm going to show you. By agreeing or disagreeing with something that you never studied. I learned that. I learned that. Because if it didn't line up with what I was told, no, I don't agree with that. No, I don't know. That's not true. I never looked into, no, the sky's not blue. No, it's not. It's purple. But how do you know? Bro, don't worry about that. The Spirit led me. I know. And all I got to do is go outside and do what? Look up. And I can get the truth. The way to stay in eternal ignorance is by agreeing or disagreeing with something that you never studied. Hallelujah. All right, let's go. Let's build. So, the deception is real, right? So, we have to, before we can explain who the people are, we got to look at the people who are saying that they are the people. Because the deception is real. Look at somebody say it's real. It's real. That's why many times Paul, Mashiach, it was like, be not deceived. Do you think they just said that to sound cool? He's like, man, be not deceived, bro. Because it's going to come a time where folks is going to be deceived. Hallelujah. So, let's look at it. But see, we're not only going to talk about the Jews. We're going to touch a little bit on Kimmy, too. Right? Because we got our people, they just want to be so Egypt. Just so pro-African. Where you don't know you can fall into their nation like that. You better be careful. Be careful what you're tapping into. Be Spirit-led. Hallelujah. So, remember I told y'all, we're going to look at history and we're going to look at scripts. The Bible says out of the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses, let every word be established. And I began to say in the beginning, one of my progress to waking up was I started asking questions. I stopped with the, God and I'll learn about it later. No. Most High said, ask me and I'll freely give. Once I start asking, I said, man, why didn't they show the part on 10 Commandments when Moses' hand turned white? Because he was white. They couldn't do it. Couldn't do that part. Nah, back then, how old that movie was? They didn't have all the special effects. Right? But I asked the question, why did Moses' hand turn white if he was already white? Because me, and I don't, laugh at me, I used to think the whole Bible was white. I didn't care. Right? I still love, the Lord from my understanding, from what I thought. But I thought, so once I started asking these questions, I said, man, if Moses passed as Pharaoh's son, that means he had to be a dark-skinned brother. Because the Bible says his hand turned back to his original flesh. Right? Back to it. Turned leprous. See, we think leprosy is it's a flesh-eating disease, but it don't mean your skin is bleeding. If you study Bible, it means your skin turned white in times. Remember, Aaron in Numbers, he said, don't turn me in and let me be associated with a baby that comes out dead out of the mother's womb. Remember when the leprosy fell on Miriam? Because they associate that. When a baby come out dead, they're pale, they're white. So they associated leprosy with that. So, let's keep building. We're going to get to it. According to historical documents, right? And I'm going to put up some sources and y'all go, feel free to look them up, right? In 70 A.D., King Bulan. Anybody know who King Bulan is? Anybody? King of the Ashkenazi. Khazar, go ahead, Al. No, that's it. King of the Khazars, right? Anybody know who the Khazars are? The fake white shit. Right, you jumping to y'all know flows. Khazars, anybody? Go ahead, Al.
Serpent people.
Serpent people. Right, we're going to bring that out. All right? History. We're not just going to go off what we told. We're going to look. Don't even just go off what I'm telling you. Go look into it. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. In 70 A.D., King Bulan, the king of the Khazars in Eastern Europe, which is now Russia, converted to Judaism. Look, somebody say Judaism. And made it their country's new religion. Say new religion. So you got to understand this king. Now, anybody can tell me what's special about this date, 70 AD? What happened? Go ahead, Bingo. That's when Rome came in, tore everything down, right? The Romans, man, they knew how to torture. They was making bodies out of the Hebrews. I mean, they was making lamps out of their bodies. Same thing they did in slavery, right? But they knew different things to torture. They knew how to, I don't know, they was weird. So, the Khazar people were known as the serpent people. Say the serpent people. Anybody know anything about the serpent people? Come on, don't be afraid. Come on. Huh? Did you say Solomon? Yeah, okay. Anybody else? Serpent people. Anybody? Okay. Now, you gotta understand, and I don't know if I have it in here, but when we see, you see on TV how our presidents, they go to the Wailing Wall. Now, if you do research, that's not where the temple was built. But I used to think it was built because that's what I was just told. I just went with it. But the temple was not even built there. And they go there and they go back and forth. If you look into it, that is a sexual gesture. That is a sexual gesture. Why you can't go and pray? Why are you going back and forth, right? And then we're going to get into it. Let's go. The Khazar people were known as serpent people. Khazars were even referred to biblical descendants of Gog and Magog. There's a source right there. And I'll send a slide out to everybody. More information. Eric Alak, a geneticist from University of Sheffield, also stated, this is a professor that does genetics, that the genetic research proves that Caucasian European Ashkenazi Jews are descendants of the Khazars and make up 90% of worldwide Jews today. Now, they not scared of it. They call themselves, Khazar Jews. But it's important to look back up. See, that's why when you read the words, you just can't skip over those names. You don't just skip over names because you don't know how to pronounce it. I know, it's hard to pronounce some of them names. But you need to go look up those names. Because guess what? Those people didn't just leave the face of the earth. They changed into a different people. Right? You don't hear about Canaanites no more, but we know they're Africans. Right? The only people, according to the Bible, that were wiped off the face of the earth was Sodom and Gomorrah. Other nations are still, look at somebody say they still here. Okay. We're going to keep going. Let's go. According to the Universal Jewish Encyclopedia, it states that this is the Universal Jewish Encyclopedia. This is what they say. Look at somebody, this is what they say. It states that Edom is modern Jewry. And it's on page 41. Go ahead, Al. The 1980 Jewish Almanac states, this is what the 1980 Jewish Almanac states. Strictly speaking, it is incorrect. Say incorrect. It is incorrect to call a contemporary Jew an Israelite or a Hebrew. That's on page 3 of the Jewish Almanac. Based off these studies and historical proof, because, here we go, I want you to pay attention, because they are not, you're just going to walk right in front after I just pray for me. Please, pray. Based off these studies and historical proof, because they are not Jews, according to what they said, right? Now we know we're using the term Jewish, but we know the term Jew came about way later than the Bible, right? It came way later, right? We might call themselves Jews, they believe they're from Judah, right? We already went through all that. Because they are not Jews by blood, but by religious conversion, that will make them a proselyte. Right. a Gentile born that's converted over to Judaism. Keep going out. Matthew 23:15. Woe unto you. This is Mashiach speaking to the scribes and Pharisees. Scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you compass the sea and the land. So you go throughout the sea, throughout the land, to make one a proselyte. And when he is made, he make him a two or more child of the devil. This is the same doctrine that the Pharisees and Sadducees were given even back then. They were trying to convert, but remember, they were bringing in Talmud teachings. And Mashiach, when he came, he didn't come to do away with the law like people say. He came to show them the correct way because there was too much Talmudic teachings in their doctrine. Hallelujah. Ashkenazi Jews. Now, we're going through all this because we're not just going to jump out the window and say, hey, we're the people, because we got to prove that. Right? Hallelujah. Ashkenazi Jews comes from the Gentiles. Say the Gentiles. Prove it, just. Okay. Genesis is clear as day. Chapter 10, verses 1 through 5. It says, now these are the generations of the sons of Noah. Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Say Japheth. Japheth. And unto them were the sons born after the flood. The sons of Japheth, Gomer, and Magog. Right? See Magog, right? We just looked at it before, and we see how these Khazarians come from Gog and Magog land. Right? And Madiah, and Javan, and Jabal, and Masich, and Tyrus. And the sons of Gomer, Ashkenaz. Say Ashkenaz. Ashkenaz, and Rephath, and Togarmah, and the sons of Javan, Elisha, and all those names. Y'all know. Y'all go read them and pronounce them. Verse 5 is key, because this tells you who they are. By these were the house of the Hebrews. Ham. Gentile. I want to make sure y'all paying attention. Don't just go over what I say. By these were the house of the Gentiles. All of these, divided in their lands, everyone after his tongue, his families, and their nations. So we see, based off reading that, where the Ashkenazi comes from Gentiles. Right. So how did they pull this wool over our eyes? Right. Bing! Right? You know how you get that light bulb, the cartoon? All right. Genesis chapter 9 to 27 is also a key. Because it was even prophesied in the beginning. Right. Go back from y'all? Go back. Yeah. Genesis 9 to 27. It says, Japheth will dwell in the tents of Shem. Japheth will dwell in the tents of Shem. Now, we know you got Ham, you got Japheth. Who came from Shem? Jacob, Israel, right? We don't even become Israel too much later. They, and that's a whole other thing. But Japheth will dwell in the tents of Shem. As we speak now, Japheth is dwelling in the tents in the land of Shem. Hallelujah. So let's keep going. The deception is real. Now, but y'all, I got this thought. One thing about the truth, it hurts. It do. It's there to cut. It's there to slice, right? So, don't get it wrong. I used to think it was a star too, right? But the deception is real. See, a lot of people, even within the church, they call this a Star of David, right? But this is not the Star of David. Why? Because there is no scripts to back that up. How is that the star? David never had no star. Somebody else did, though. Let's go. This here is a Khazarian seal. Say a Khazarian seal.
Khazarian seal.
Found around the 8th and 9th century A.D. Khazarian, Khazars. This is their sign. And again, this symbol is a hexagram. Say hexagram. And is used by many pagan religions, including Luciferianism and Satanism. It's very hard for a person to put a hex on you without this symbol. This is one of the highest symbols in satanic worship. Man, I know them who say they are Jews, but are really of the synagogue of Satan. Hit it again, huh? Now, hit it one more time. This here is a sign that the Luciferians use. That there is the Star of David, or the Seal of Solomon. This here is a Buddhist. The Buddhists use this symbol. This is the Buddhist logo. This here is for Hindus. I don't know if you can see it's probably far, but right here is this symbol right in the middle of that. They use these signs as a sign of worship to lift up. Now, when I said, nah, this is when I was waking. I said, man, this is the Jewish star. How dare they? But once I started reading and looking into it, non-biased, started to make sense. I didn't want to believe it, but I had to, because the truth is in the pudding. Because, hold on now. My man, Hot Curtis, he's like, come on, let's get through. Nah, I'm just playing. Now, if you look into it, this is a Khazarian seal found in the 8th and 9th century, way before 1948 when they got the land and they put it on the flag. This was considered a Khazarian seal. History proves it. But even they, the Khazarians, grabbed it from Luciferianism. I know them that say they are Jews, but are really of the synagogue of Satan. Let's keep going. Jeremiah chapter 46, verses 27 and 28. But fear not thou, O my servant Jacob, and be not dismayed, O Israel, for behold, I will save thee from afar off. We will be followed, and thy seed from the land of thy captivity, and Jacob shall return and be in rest at ease. Say at ease. And some people shall make them afraid. No, not all. None. Say none. None shall make them afraid. This is the Most High promise in bringing the people back into the land and declaring nobody will make you afraid. Now, if you read prior to this, this is when they right before this, they were in Babylon, right? And Jeremiah was prophesying to them about a future event of what was to come. I know you're in Babylon. I'm going to bring out of there. I think they stayed about 70 years in Babylon. But there's going to come a time when you're in captivity, I'm going to bring you back into the land. You ain't got to worry about nobody else coming to get you. Right. Fear not, O Jacob, my servant, said Yahuwah. Now, why did he say it? Why is he only talking to Jacob? Where is the northern kingdom at this hour? Anybody? Huh? Captivity. Who got it? The Assyrians. Because the northern kingdom, boy, they knew how to stir up the devil. Right? Now, Judah wasn't no better. Because, the Most High was like, man, you ain't learned from y'all sister. But Israel was some stiff-necked people. Y'all know we always talk about that. So, for I am with thee, for I will make a full end of all nations whither I have driven thee. Now we know, as I stated in the beginning, Genesis 15:13 talk about the 400 years. Come August 20th of this year, it's going to be 400 years of being. That doesn't mean something's going to happen that day. But before something happens, he promised something in Genesis 15:13. He said, I have to judge that nation. Judgment is coming. Judgment is here. You just have to listen to the voice of the sign. Say the voice. They just had the grasshopper thing take over Vegas. Grasshoppers, ain't no grass in Vegas. Y'all think that's a coincidence? Anyone on top of the pyramid, like the Most High just say, "Hear, O Israel," because right before the Exodus, what did he do to Egypt? He judged it, hit them with plagues. Same thing is happening. Pay attention. Full end of all nations, but I will not make a full end of thee. Prophetic, because slavery should have killed us. Transatlantic slave trade. What they did to the Indians wasn't even compared to what they did to us. And now, almost like the Indians out. See, a lot of people think our stuff started here. Nah, it was starting all these over in Africa. All this shit, we had people, I'm talking about weeks and months journey. They showed, I went to the Martin Luther King museum, and they showed the space that the slaves had in the ship. And talking about 400 people in a room this size, right about here, stuffed in like sardines. Slaves dying from suffocation. When they using the bathroom, they just using the bathroom on each other. They throwing up on it. See, they don't tell you that part of slavery. That stuff should have wiped us out. You had women that was having babies on board and taking their babies and jumping off the ship. Because they felt, I'd rather die than to go into servitude. They knew what was coming. Let's go. Since the Jews have returned to the land, they have had no peace. That should be an identifying factor to us. Because here is the fact of the matter. If they are the people, then the Bible lied. That's the fact of the matter. Because the Most High promised. And he's not a man that he should lie. No. Men lie, but the Most High don't. He promised, once I take you back into the land, I'm going to take you into this land and you're going to have peace. Peace, say peace. Peace. And you shall not be afraid. What is going on? Man, I'm here already. I'm missing some slides, y'all. So, the Kemetic and Egyptian deception. I'm not going to tackle on this hard because I really want to get to the meat of it because I want to make sure we get prayer and everything afterward. In the 1840s, because now, it's some people that probably live out of from Egypt, right? You got to do your DNA, right? But don't think you can cleave on. You can cleave on. Some folks don't want to do their DNA. They're afraid what they do. No, I'm Israel. I just play. Nah, listen. These are for those because we have a strong Kemetic movement, which those are into Egyptology and they getting into King Tut and all this. But those, that is a very dangerous doctrine. One thing about us is that we always want to follow those who oppress us. We always defend those who oppress us. You got people that will defend other nations more than they do their own people. Yes, I know we have issues. We do. We have a lot. But we just went through, right, when the lesson started, of why we have those issues, right? We have to be patient with one another, right? But we have one thing about our people, we will always go back to our oppressors to defend and follow them before we do the Most High. Egypt was our first captivity. Can we go back to defend them and say that's where we're from? No, we're higher. We're a royal priesthood, a holy nation, set aside by the Most High. Let's go. In the 1840s, Morgan collaborated with George R. Gideon, he was an Egyptologist, who provided him with mummy heads. Say mummy heads. and information about the racial significance of the Egyptian tombs inscriptions and crania that were published in 1844. Morton pointed out that both cranial and archaeological evidence showed that Egyptians were not the same as Negro people. The Negro's head, when I say Negro, I mean us, this is what they had in the book, so I can't change it. The Negro's head was longer than the Egyptian's head. So what they did is they got a mummy head and they got a head of a modern day black person in America. They compared the head and say these cannot be the same people because their cranial structures is totally different. And they ain't just do one skull, they did multiple of them. Right. Get it out. He found out that there were two totally different people. In fact, the Negroes had been relegated to the same servitude position in ancient Egypt as in modern America. So what they said is, what he basically said, now we did find some skulls over there for some slaves that used to be in Egypt, and we found out their cranial structure is the same as these black people in America. And they serve the same servitude as they do over here in America. This is in 1840. Dr. Morton discovered that the blacks that were serving in slavery in America served the same position in servitude in ancient Egypt. When he matched other skulls and other remains in Egypt, they realized they were similar in many ways. Hold on, Al. Hold on. Did y'all hear that? Yeah. We got history proving it. Now, the third one is I love to bring out is DNA, but we ain't got no DNA testing here right now because DNA is a powerful tool. DNA has the power to lock you up. It has the power to set you free. Right? DNA can put you at a scene of a crime and you could be 100 miles away. DNA is powerful. Let somebody say it's powerful. But what we got now is we got companies buying up DNA clinics because they're afraid of what we are finding out. This here is the Zondervan Bible Dictionary. Now we're going to get into it. Let's get into the meat. Because as I said, we just can't jump out the window and say, oh, we're the people. We had the first proof based off history. And those are only some things. There's millions of things that prove they're not. I just want to hit those things to get to the meat of the lesson. If you don't have, most of you know, probably already know this, the Zondervan Bible Dictionary, right? Anybody don't know what the Zondervan Bible Dictionary is? Okay, good. Everybody know. Well, your mama ain't got one, right? Right there, look. Zondervan Bible Dictionary, right? If you don't, that's a very good tool, very good use. Not just because it has this, but you can learn, there's a lot of good studying tools in that. Now, Zondervan was a theologian of the time. He was with Darby and all of them. Now, if you look at these theologians, most of the time when you talk to Christians, the main people they talk about is the Christian fathers. I don't care nothing about no Christian fathers. Tell me about the apostles and Christ and what they did. They just skip all of them and say, well, the church fathers said. If the church fathers ain't lining up with the word, then none of that stuff matters. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. This is out of the Bible Dictionary. Now we know Noah had how many sons? 3 sons, right? What were their names? Shem, Ham, Japheth, right? Now, one of the lies that has been told to us is that we come from Ham. What was the other lie they told us about Ham? Anybody? He was cursed with what? Blackness, right. He was cursed with blackness, black skin. Right? I used to believe that, you know. I did. Like, dang, you know, well, I'm just happy to be here. You know. I even heard one pastor say, man, thank God for slavery. One of the slavery, I wouldn't know God. You a fool, bro. Because the Bible, we had the Bible way before slavery. All they did is whitewash. And if color don't matter, Why they changed it? Here's the thing when it comes to color. Let me give you something. Color doesn't matter when it comes to what Mashiach did. It has nothing to do with anything. Because whether he was polka dot, orange, black, white, he died, and we have a way in. Right? Color has everything to do with who he is, though. It has nothing to do with what he did. Because, you know, they said, doesn't matter what color he is as long as his blood was red. Okay, all right, thank you. His blood is red. But I always give an example. If I was to paint a picture of anybody's mother in here, and she was white, and I paint her black, and I show you the picture, you're going to be looking at me like, bro, who is this? That ain't my mama. I'm like, yeah, bro, it's your mom. She's just dark. But it doesn't matter what color she is. She took care of you. She cared for you. She carried you 9 months. Hey, bro, that ain't got nothing to do with that. It ain't got nothing to do with what she did. It has everything to do with who she is. Some of us have cut somebody out. They paint our house the wrong color. But you ain't gonna treat your Mashiach, your Christ, higher than that? Yah forbid. His color matters. The reason why they say his color don't matter, because they don't want it to point back to the people. Because if he was dark-skinned, how did Yah get that light? What did the Egyptian president say? I believe in the 1960s. He said we would never accept them as a people because they left black and they came back white. Identity theft. Let's keep building. Ham, the youngest son of Noah, born probably about 96 years before the flood, and one of the 8 persons that lived through the flood, he became the progenitor of the dark races. Say the dark races. This is Zondervan talking. He said he became the progenitor of the dark races, but not the Negroes. So we see that. Why nobody ain't talking about that? That right there should prove it, because we know we ain't come from Japheth. We know that. So it's only other one son left, because 3 minus 2 equals what? 1. See, you smart. I don't care what they say. That leaves one son. And that is who? Shem. Because he made it specific to point out the Negroes. All the dark races come from him, but not these Negroes. Because Zondervan was saying something without saying. Because Zondervan probably knew if I really say what's happening, they ain't going to let me put out no Zondervan Bible dictionary. Now this was written many years ago. Go ahead, Al. So, who are the people of the book? Now we don't decipher. We don't went through. We showed we came. You know, people think we Egyptian. Now, when it comes to African, yes, we are part of Africa because Israel is a part of Africa. It sits on the plate of Africa. There's no such thing as the Middle East because there's no Middle South, there's no Middle North, and there's no Middle West. So I know where we get a Middle East. They've been lying. I mean, some of y'all just getting mad right now like, I did not know that. It's okay, don't worry, don't worry. First thing you have to know about Israel is this. This is also a defining key of who Israel is. Everybody ready? Is that they constantly went into slavery because of their disobedience. And so much that Jeremiah asked the Most High in Jeremiah 2:14, is Israel a servant? Is he a homeborn slave? Why is he spoiled? Because Jeremiah kept asking, man, we constantly going to slave. Most High, what? Were we just born to be slaves? So one defining fact about Israel is that you don't know when they disobeyed, the Most High is sending them in slavery. So let's look at it. First type of slave we had was where? Egypt. Say Egypt. Well, you know, they were Egypt. They went into Egypt as a people, but came out as a nation. Right? They went in 70 deep with Jacob. Right? Came out as a multitude. Right? So, Egypt. They come out of Egypt. The Most High takes them into the promised land. Now, y'all know before they went into the promised land, Israel acting a fool and creating idols, building gold calves, Negroes. Right? I just fed you manna from heaven. I can't be serious, bro. But that's how we do. So, came out of Egypt, went into the land. The Most High promised them, because remember, after Egypt, they received the law, right? At Mount Sinai. He said, if you break these laws, all these curses are going to happen. We're going to go through them. We're going to prove who the people are. So, came out of Egypt, came into the land, fell into sin. The Assyrians came and got them. Say the Assyrians. 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 6. In the 9th year of Hoshea, the king of Assyria took Samaria and carried Israel away into captivity. Northern kingdom got wicked. Some of Judah went to. Got wicked, serving other idols. Most High said, sending you slavery. They repented while they was in Syria. Who came next? The Babylonians. Say the Babylonians. Babylonian captivity. 1 Chronicles 9:1. So all Israel were reckoned by genealogies, and behold, they were written in the book of the kings of Israel and Judah, who were carried away to Babylon for their transgression. So they went into Babylon, repented. God, I'm sorry, Most High, I shouldn't have did that. Most High like, okay, all right, I'm going to let you go out, but don't do it again. He knew they was going to do it again. Yeah. Brought them out of Babylon, took them back into the land. These jokers mess up again, and the Persians, say the Persians. The Persians come and take them into captivity. Ezra chapter 9, verse 9. For we were bondmen, yet our Elohim have not forsaken us in bondage, but have exceeded mercy unto us in the sight of the kings of Persia, to give us a reviving, to set the house of our Elohim and repair the desolation thereof, to give us a wall in Judah and Jerusalem. So they came out of Assyrian captivity. Babylonians came and took them. Came out of Babylonian captivity. The Persians came and took them. Came out of Persian captivity. Went back into the land. Repented. Guess what they did? Fell into sin again. The Greeks, say the Greeks. The Greeks came and got it. Now, here is what was taken out. Because they call the time between Malachi and Matthew the silent years. That's a silent lie. Listen to this, silent lie. Because, as we just talked about when we first started, book of Matthew wasn't even the first book written in the Berea Hadashah. The book of Galatians. What was it? The book of Galatians was written first. So, if it was silent all the way to Galatians to Paul, so the Most High wasn't speaking. So where's Mashiach? Somebody lied. Somebody said somebody lied. They took out certain books. Just think about this. And I use a 1611 sometimes. I mean, I use a regular Bible. But just think about this. You ain't got to think deep. If the Bible we have is what was given to us as everything, you got to ask yourself, what were they reading in 1610? In 1610, if you go get a 1611 King James, the only King James Bibles at that time, that has way more than 66 books. But they took certain books out. Why? To hide who you were. Because in a lot of those books, it shows you that the heathen or the Gentile was going to take the heritage of Israel and paint it as their own faces. If that was in our Bible, we would have said, oh, this is why they painted Mashiach white. Because it was prophesied that they were going to do it. The Maccabees, say the Maccabees. The Maccabees, which it lifts up Christ, everything. But if you go grab a 1611 King James, you will see that it's in there. You go get a Septuagint, you will see these books in there. Hallelujah. And to treat them, they would take the yoke from them, and they saw that the kingdom of the Grecians did oppress Israel in servitude. So they went into Greek captivity, came out of Greek captivity, rebuilt the temple, right? Because they were doing all type of wicked stuff. Israel rebuilt the temple, went back into the land. Who came? The Romans. During the time of Yeshua and Christ. And guess what? That captivity still continues today. We are in Roman captivity. The United States is the daughter of Rome. I mean, we do everything. That's where Catholicism, everything comes. All things, our stuff either comes from Greek and Rome. Even the churches, Greek or Rome. You get a lot of, so I hope none of y'all in it. A lot of these frat brothers getting these Greek fraternities where you're worshiping other Elohims. Go ahead. Right? Yeah, that's absolutely right. Absolutely. Now, out of all these captivities, go back from y'all. Out of all of these captivities, why was this captivity the longest? Anybody? Prophesy. Go ahead. What they did to the Mashiach. Hallelujah. Go ahead. Say it again. Right. You knew they'd continue in sin. But one of the main things, now, every other time, they broke the commandments of the Most High. Most High allowed the curse to come upon them, and he took them into captivity. This captivity has been the longest captivity Israel has ever been in. And the reason behind that is because of what we did to Mashiach. And we talked about it before. If you look at what Mashiach went through, Judah went through the same thing. Right? Mashiach was killed innocently. All the time. It's not just by police. I always say it's two types of KKKs. Ku Klux Klan and kings killing kings. Because not only do I gotta talk to my son about what to do when he come across a police officer, but I also gotta teach him what to do if he walk down the wrong neighborhood. And that's the reality. So we go through what Mashiach went through. Mashiach was killed what? Innocent. We're killed. We're dying innocent. Mashiach was hung on a what? A tree. It's one of the things we went through when we came over. I say, I'm sorry, something we still going through. They still lynching people. Mashiach made a statement on the cross, and he said, or the stake, and he said, Father, why hast thou forsaken me? One of the main issues we have within the black home is fatherlessness homes. We're repeating the cycle. Everything we took Mashiach through, we're going through it in the same way. And we have to redeem that and fix that by what? Accepting the priest, accepting Mashiach. That's why you find Judah so law, but no spirit, no ruach. You'll fall in that. Because here is the patience of the called out ones. I know I say it every Shabbat. Those that keep the commandments of the Most High and have faith in Mashiach. You can't have one without the other. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. So, let's go. Because we're going to get into this. All right. Many can identify, listen to this. Many can identify everybody and everything with the Bible. But when it comes to identifying who Israel is, everybody becomes deaf and blind. Oh, well, I could tell the Antichrist because he don't have it. Or you would just decipher the Antichrist, but you just can't look at the Bible and see who the people are. That's right. Go ahead, Ak. One of the identifying factors of proving where Israel is by looking at Deuteronomy 28. Now, we don't only use this scripture, and I'm going to do teachings where you can prove where we are just by the Berit Hadashah. The book of James is really, chapter 5 goes in. You probably didn't even look, but we'll do that another time. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 45, 46. Moreover, all these curses, say all of them, shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and overtake thee, till thou hast been destroyed, because thou hearkenest not unto the voice of Yahweh thy Elohim, to keep his commandments and his statutes, which he commanded thee. And they shall be upon thee for a sign and a wonder, and upon thy seed, just till tomorrow. Just until next week. Just till the church comes. Forever. And remember, I told y'all, I did some research. I looked up what forever means, and forever means forever. That's what it means. Go ahead, Al. So, let's bust this thing down verse by verse. Alright? I'm not going to go through all 68 verses now. Repeat all day. But I just picked random verses, and we gonna decipher and show who went through this, who's going through this, and who are these people. Because we just read that it said these curses are going to be a sign and a wonder among your seed forever. Yeah, but the Jews, they got the blessing part. But some of them accept Mashiach. But it's a lot of wicked ones that don't. And they blessed more above because they run the banks. If you'll be a fool not to think that the Jews don't run the United States of America. They own your Time Warner. They own your CNN. They own everything. Entertainment. Oh, y'all like all our favorite hip hop artists. Guess who their boss was? That's right. Jewish man. Guess who owned Def Jam? Not Russell Simmons. I forgot his name, but the Jewish guy. They call him, what's his name? Who? Cohen. Go ahead, Hop.
It's all fake like Jews.
Rick Rubin, yeah, he was one of them too. Dude, he did the Beatles album too, right? A lot of these guys, they run it. Because you gotta understand, if I see Judah, and I know that Judah is good with songs, I'm gonna make a profit off Judah. Because they don't know who they are. Because as long as I can keep Judah dumbed down, I can keep their identity. But once Judah wakes up, then I gotta tell who I am. Go ahead, Coach.
And not only do they use them because they can make money off of it, now they can control the narrative and what they push out and what they I get the people to do. They control the masses through controlling them.
Bingo.
Money is control.
Bingo. So, Deuteronomy 28:17, cursed shall thou be thy basket and thy store. Go ahead, Al. We as a people have not progressed, even though we've been here since 1619. Yeah, but Obama president. Listen, stop using one person to represent a whole nation. Every time you bring something out, people always bring up 4 people or 5. Obama, Oprah, right? That's right. Michael Jordan, Tyler Perry. That's 7 people out of a nation of people. And you know they got to put a black face in the front just to show, hey, y'all shut up, because look, y'all got this, right? Okay. So every other nation has come in and surpassed us economically with ease. Well, we will eat at Chinese. We dissect in this verse. We eat at Chinese, Italian, Puerto Rican restaurants, but most of them will not dare come and support an all-black-owned restaurant. We're lost people. We have the highest spending power in America, even though we are the minority. We have the highest spending power, even though we're poverty-stricken. We are the biggest consumers in this Egyptian system. Go ahead, I'm going to speed through this. Not speed, but Deuteronomy 28:19. Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out. There is no peace. Now, don't get spiritual on me. I got peace. I'm on shit. Okay. We know. Hallelujah. But don't be naive, like you don't have black sons that you got to have difficult conversations with. I had a conversation with my sons already about what to do with the police pull them over. Even my youngest son. My youngest son had one thing I try to show my son, all police not bad, because he had a bad perception of them. Because every time there was interaction with officer, it was always something negative with the officer coming to me. Even to a point, we walking in the mall, my youngest son see officer, he say, "Yo, Dad, he gonna shoot you?" I never taught him that. But this is the perception that our children get because of the society that we're brought up in. There's no peace here for us because we have fought to be involved in a system that really didn't want us. I told y'all the biggest mistake to our people was the civil rights movement. Because we fought to get in somewhere where they didn't. Why am I fighting to eat at a restaurant and y'all don't want me to? Y'all gonna spit in my food. I'm not eating. Okay, I'll go somewhere else. Instead of fighting for inclusion, we should have fought for independence. That's why Martin Luther King, you know why they killed Martin Luther King? He started to change his thought pattern. Martin Luther King said, "I'm afraid I integrated my people into a permanent house. I shouldn't have did this." Let's go. We have to walk, drive, speak, and act carefully within society. We have to work twice as hard to get lesser pay. We look to adapt to American culture, but they still don't respect us. Go ahead, Coach.
Okay, so since we're trying to adapt into a system that does not accept us, I mean, doesn't that even include with us buying houses, the credit system, the banking, all of that?
Now, it's a good question. Now, with that, you use wisdom, right? Now, there's nothing wrong with having those items. Because, and don't get crazy and think, "Oh, I'm not part of the system, I don't need a job."
Right. You don't need no house. You just can't make these things.
The Bible says a man that cannot take care of his family is worse than an infidel. Go get you a job. Look at somebody say a job. Money cometh to those that work it. Right? No money is going to rain down from heaven. Now, with that, you have to know how to use this system without allowing the system to use you. Now, I myself, me and my wife, we have real estate business. We have our real estate in New York, right? We make good money on it. Hallelujah. One thing I tell my wife though, we can't be so attached to this because when it's time to go,
It's time
to go.
That's the key right there.
We can't be like Lot's wife, looking back, thinking about what we leaving behind.
Right.
Man, I just got the audio. Man, you can burn that audio, right? So you use this system, but don't allow the system to use you. All right, let's keep going. Good? No, you good. Now, remember, it said, "Cursed thou shalt be when they comes in, cursed when thou be when they going out." I brought this in. Judge Mark Severo was involved in Black Kids for Cash. I don't know if you ever heard of this story. A scandal where you send young black juveniles in prison for max sentences to get money. Yeah, he was caught and he sent over 100 and some juveniles. I mean, black kid get caught with a down bag of marijuana. They give him 5-10 years. With this guy, he was investing into private prisons. Now, this is the only judge that was caught. You can imagine how many other judges are in this business. It's a side hustle, right? It's a side hustle. They were putting kids in this prison because by putting kids in this prison, they get money for the kids being in there also. All right, let's go. Deuteronomy 28, 25 through 26. "And Yahuwah shall cause thee to be smitten before thine enemies, that shall go out one way against them and flee 7 ways before them, and shall be removed into all," look somebody say all the kingdoms of the earth. There's only one group of people, you look into this, that have been scattered. I didn't say moved. That has been forcefully scattered to all the kingdoms of the earth. Right. And that is us. Look somebody say us. And and thy carcass shall be meat unto all the fowls of the air, and unto the beasts of the earth, and no man shall fray them away. Go ahead, Al. During the slave trades, many were eaten by sharks. Right? Remember, sharks used to change they said the sharks, so much food or bodies used to be thrown off these slave ships, that sharks changed their course and followed, oh, there goes a ship. They gone. Were eaten by sharks, and the remains of black slaves could be found in the ocean, because many attempted to swim to freedom or were thrown off. I put in parentheses, there were no animals around the Holocaust.
Nope.
Right.
See? We'll deal with that. Because see, a lot of the Jews will bring this up and say the Holocaust. First of all, it's very disrespectful to even try to compare the Holocaust to this transatlantic slave trade. Because even to this day, we're still being afflicted. It's not ending. And they got paid back for what happened to them. They're still getting paid. Billions. Not millions. Say billions. Billions of dollars. So if they getting paid back, then when Mashiach come back in Joel 3, then he can't be talking about them, because he came back for people who never got paid back for what was done to them. So I put that in because the Holocaust, they were in gated communities. Forget something coming in, they were locked in where they couldn't get out.
That's right.
But when it came to us, go ahead, after being lynched, many slaves' bodies were left for animals to eat off of.
Right. That's right.
What do you think? They gave us a proper burial after they lynched us? No. They let that body sit there, decay, crows, all the maggots, flies, animals, even hyenas in certain areas cross seas when they were ate off of them. Dogs ate off of them. Human flesh is one of the curses. Go ahead, Al. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 29. And thou shalt grope at noonday, as the blind gropeth in darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways. And thou shalt be only oppressed and spoiled evermore, and no man shall save thee.
Yeah.
That's the reason why Martin Luther King's have died. The Most High don't want no man to get the glory for bringing us out of this. That's why the Malcolm X's, I don't agree with Malcolm X's message, because he served a whole different Elohim, but I understood what he was doing. That's why he died, because he didn't want Malcolm X to get the glory. That's why the Marcus Garveys died. Because the Most High wants to put his signature on this, because when he comes back, people are going to look in amazement, the Bible says, because here is a people spoiled, but now these are the children of the Most High. The Bible says other nations are going to say, oh, we inherited lies from our fathers. That's why the Bible says that they will help Israel to get to other nations. Go ahead. The way we are treated in America in the past and present proves this scripture correct. Oda Binga, I don't know if you ever heard of it, but if y'all didn't, look him up. He was also, now this is a young girl, I forgot, I didn't put it in, I thought I had it at the top. But she was in Belgium. This is a zoo. They used to have us on display at zoos, and the white people used to come around and feed us. This is a Belgium. Now, this is another guy. Look him up. He's a very famous story. Oda Binga was also displayed in the Bronx Zoo in New York in 1906. He used to sit in a cage, and when it was time to come out, he'd come out of his cage and sit on display so people would come and watch him. Like an animal. Deuteronomy 28:29. Yes, those are real heads on that wall. That goes to show you how diabolical and wicked the type of persecution. They don't show this in the slave books. This was common. That's why they put the animals up on their walls. They used to be human heads. Deuteronomy 28:29. And thou shalt grope at noonday as a blind bride. It's the same scripture. Now, Europeans collected heads of slaves for research and for hobbies. But this is one of the curses. He says you're going to grope at noonday and you're going to wonder, why is this happening? What's going on? But he says, when it comes to a remembrance, you're going to say, we broke the law, statutes, and commandments. Once we don't try everything else, y'all. We don't try marching. Some of y'all don't try Black Lives Matter. I don't agree with that mess. I don't agree with all lives matter, all blue lives matter, right? Because Black Lives Matter, see, remember I talked to y'all, we become the office of line to every movement. We block while other people score. Black Lives Matter is ran by 2 LGBT leaders. And their whole agenda is to eventually fight for gay rights. But you out there, Black Lives Matter, you end up going to jail because you want to be a fool. Go back real quick, okay, I got it. Go ahead. So I'm going through these verses, all right? We're going to tie this up. Deuteronomy 28 and 30. And thou shalt, this is one of the curses of Israel, and thou shalt betroth a wife, or have a wife, and another man shall lie with her. Thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell therein. We built this whole nation.
Right.
And some of us can't even get along, even though we got 800 credit score. Thou shalt plant a vineyard and shalt not gather the grapes thereof. Raping of wives was something common amongst the slave plantations. Not only were they rape the wife, they will rape the men. We talked about this in the Message Manufacturer, right? Why they will rape the man is so that the family will lose confidence in the man and then depend on the slave master. So they will get the strongest slave of another family and make him go rape that man in front of his family. And then that man's family will look at that man and disgrace. Because they would say, how could you protect us if you can't protect yourself? And so the family will then, it's all psychological, turn to the slave master and say, since he can't protect us, then we will depend on you. And that's what the welfare and child support system has done to our people when they say amen. Because in order to get welfare, the man has to be outside of the home. And they find out inside the home, they say, we'll take your funds. Matter of fact, you can lay with them, you can have how many babies you want with them. But if you have any kids with them, you gotta put them on child support. Because by putting them on child support, we incriminate them. And then by incriminating, we can't get a job. And if you can't get a job, you're not gonna want them because we can give you everything that he said he can provide. You want a house? We can pay for that, welfare. You want food? We can give you that, welfare. Or you want to go to school free? We can do that. We will be your man while you push out what you need in your household.
Come on now, talk about it.
Yes, a lot of men have been sorry, deadbeats, no good jokers, but there are also a flip side of that where women have pushed out good men because they want to be independent.
That's right.
Beyonce, I'll let y'all sing independent while she's sitting up married to the love of her life. Man, I'm not saying you go get your education, job, but listen, don't act like you don't know our people, our women is the only group of people that say they don't need a man. You don't hear that coming from white people, Chinese women, because we have been programmed to think in that manner. I don't need a man. To this day, my daughter, y'all know, hey baby, don't do that, baby. No. Daddy's just about to use you as an example. So, this day, every night, I pray, not only for my daughter, but for my daughter's husband, wherever he is. I ain't want any father, no, don't get me wrong, he just ain't just be no hokey doke, because she got 3 older brothers, and you know, I practice with them every day what's going to happen when he finally comes. You know what I'm saying? But I also want her, I want to prepare her for the husband to be. Right? Go ahead.
So, man, I agree with everything you're saying. So, but the only issue that I have is, like, what if you have the individual that came from that lifestyle as far as on the streets, as far as getting everything a certain type of way, you know what I'm saying, as far as houses, as far as paying bills, paying child support, providing for their kids. Now they finding out this truth, and now they trying to make this transition
Right.
You understand?
Right.
So I'm speaking for myself. Like,
Yeah.
I done graduated from college, and I'm still, it's hard.
Yeah.
Being a black male, still trying to get grounded, even with a degree and what have you. Like, you still trying to get it. You ain't, like, everything that's wrong, you put that behind you. Like, I'm not trying to go back down that path no more.
Right.
I'm not trying to deal with these people no more. But when I transition into this different light, to this different walk, yeah, man, it's hard, because like you say, that child support don't steady coming.
Mm-hmm.
But when this job only paying me $10 an hour, and I got a household right here, and I got 3 kids, you understand?
I understand.
I understand. I'm not saying I went through it because all my kids by my wife. It's cheaper to keep them. Mom wasn't around. Now I'm just playing. Now, with that, you gotta understand. These situations, they're not to sound cliche. You're going through these things for a reason, right? You're facing these things for a reason, and it hasn't broke you yet. You're still going, right? It's tough. It's hard, man. Absolutely. But for one, the Most High, for one, got you around a strong support system. One, right? You come into this truth, you body's in the truth dolo. So now, tough things get hard. You got an op you can call. You got somebody you can call. You got somebody you can talk. Somebody that can help you. That's one. Two, you got to understand when going through things, the Bible says all things work together for the good, right? And sometimes we just use that as a cliche. But I always use an example. You ever got a box of puzzles or a box of puzzles, you dump the puzzles out and you'll pick up one piece. And this piece is not shaped so beautiful. It's an ugly piece, right? And you say to yourself, what is this ugly piece for? But you'll never realize the importance of that ugly piece until the whole puzzle's put together, right? And sometimes you're not going to understand some of the things you go through until the whole picture is complete. Now, we're saying that. Fight. Keep doing what you're doing. Because here's the thing. And you got to understand, in this system, it's made, it is designed for us to fail. Only the strong won't survive. And it's going to get tough. It's going. I've been in situations where I only had $3.45 in my account. And I ain't talking $300. I'm talking $3.45. Not knowing what I was going to do. But, and I'll be wrapping up, y'all. I just want to just give this. I want to help knock out. I know when I was going through my finding, this is just for me. And you pray on what the Most High has shown you, because it's a message in everything. But one thing the Most High was showing me as I went through my financial struggle was, when I moved down here, it cost me about $9,000-$10,000 to move. I moved the whole family. No job, no anything. But the Most High taught me, when I was in New York, even though I thought I was loving the Lord with all my heart, mind, soul, everything, I was real dependent on money. And the Most High told me, you have made your resource your main source. Now, because you made your resource your main source, I'm going to snatch that main source from you, so you will depend on me, which is your main source. That's why the Bible says you can't serve 2 masters. You're either going to love one or you're going to hate the other. You can't serve Yah and money, right? Because what has happened is, because I put money as my main source, I made the Most High my resource. So I use money and make my decision based off what I have, and then I go use the Most High whenever I need it. But it's supposed to be flipped. I'm supposed to go to the Most High for everything. What should I do with this? What should I do? Man, how can I do this? And then go to the money if I need it. So now we're going through that and going, because I've been at that time when my wife like, yo, what we going to do? And all I can tell her is, yo, we going to depend on the Most High. But she ain't know. I'm going in the room asking the Most High, what are we going to do? I need something. Because you know, as a man, we carry a lot. It's not just saying we men, because women, we love y'all, right? It's a man's world, but it won't be nothing without a woman or girl, right? So, a man, you gotta understand, we come home, we take on the children's issues. We hear what they're going through in school. That bothers us. Then, women, my wife, she like to talk. So I just sit there and listen. And she has a lot that she wants to say. And I want to make sure I'm not here. Really. Now, something may, it may not even, I can say, why are you even worried about that? But I got to listen. Hallelujah. So, I'm taking on my wife issues. But it's many times us as men, we don't have nobody to lay ours on. Because it's not nothing against women, it's nothing, no. But us as men, we like to take care of things as men, right? If the light bill due, we ain't gonna run around telling you like, we don't want you to worry. We want all the kids to be cast on us. But that's why it's important for our relationship to be intact with the Most High. Because all this weight we carrying from our kids and our wife, now, here, Most High, because that's what you're set up for. That's what you're designed for. The fire is there not to burn you, it hurts, but it's there to make you stronger, refine you, right? There's a story of a teacup, and I'm going to get back. This little clay pot, fire formed a clay pot, threw the clay pot in the oven. Clay pot started yelling, yo man, let me out this oven, man, it's hot, it's hot. Pot looked down in the oven and smiled, turned the fire up even more. Clay pot like, yo my man, ain't nothing funny about being in here, get me out of here, it's hot. Clay pot looked down, smiled, turned the fire up even more. Clay pot, I'm gonna die, you don't understand, this fire gonna kill me, I'm gonna die. Clay pot looked down, smiled, turned the fire up even more. So he finally took the clay pot out. It was the most beautiful teacup you ever seen. Because what formed it was the fire. See, the potter knew just as much to turn into, not to burn him, but to refine him. Same thing, you gotta understand, the Bible says you never put more on you than you can bear. That's a promise. You gotta understand, whenever a Hasatan comes in your way, he only can come and bring you something that you can handle. But his job is, I gotta make this look as crazy as I can to him. Because if I make, because you gotta understand, this fight is set up for us, y'all. It's set up for us to win. Because if Hasatan come and try to tempt me with something, the most I know I can handle, he's gonna say, nah, bro, you can't bring him that. Because I know he can't handle that. But you can bring him this, because I know he's strong enough to handle that. So you're strong, Be strong. Be encouraged. I know it gets tough. I came from that lifestyle. But it's going to get better as time goes. Trust the process. Trust it. It's tough right now. It's getting hard right now. And guess what? It's easy for me to say on the outside looking in. But I've been here. And we're going to talk more afterwards, all right? Hallelujah. And we got a whole bunch more options. I'm telling you, we're going to talk. So, go ahead, Al. Deuteronomy 28:32. And thy sons and thy daughters shall be given unto another people, and thy eyes shall look and fail, longing for them. Who's them? The kids, the daughter, the son. For them all the day long, and there shall be no money in your hand. So your kids is going to be snatched from you, and ain't going to be nothing that you can do. This was a common thing that happened in the slave trade. This is a common thing that's happening in today's society. Our kids are being taken away from us by gang violence and by police who are sworn to protect us and serve us. Don't be no fool, people. I don't know if we got any in here to think that you so holy that they don't see color. Because before anything, that's what they see. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Okay, let's go. Deuteronomy 28:36. And Yahuwah shall bring thee and thy king, which thou shalt set over thee, unto a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers have known, and shalt serve other Elohims of what?
Wood and stone.
Of wood and stone. Somebody tell me what that means. The cross and what? The cube. Yeah, the cube. Right. Is it the Kabbalah stone or the cotton? The Kabbalah is not the Kabbalah. Cobblestone. Yeah. Christianity and Islam. This was a curse given to Israel. That they were going to go into a nation and they were going to serve other Elohims of wood and of stone. And these are the two religions we find our people at. This is a curse. That's right. It's there. Go look it up. Because see, the Bible was never caught up into symbols. This is just a symbol. That can do nothing for you.
That's right.
The person on it, he wasn't even on the cross. He was in the stake. You got to know where this sign came from. We're going to do a teaching on it one day. Constantine. Say Constantine. Constantine seen this sign in the sun, and Constantine made a statement. He said, I hate the feast days of the Hebrews. Therefore, he created other days, like Christmas, right? Because, you know, Christmas replaced Sukkot, right? Because that's the time when Mashiach was born, Sukkot. That's why he was born in a temporary dwelling, right? A manger, right? Because even Mashiach came out celebrating Sukkot, right? But they replaced it with these things. Constantine saw this sign in the sun, and that's where the whole Sunday worship came from. And Constantine made the statement that the Elohim spoke from heaven and said, in this sign you will conquer. And with this sign, it's conquered the whole world. Islam also. This is the cobblestone. If you'll look this up, you will see. You see these dots down there? That ain't paint, that's people. Billions and millions of people hover around this stone and worship it. Walk around it. It's like a mass. It's like a thing of roaches just walk. Right? So let's go. Deuteronomy 28:37. And thou shalt become an astonishment, a proverb, and a byword, my stuff got cut off, amongst all nations. Say all nations. All nations. So, they're going to call you a word that all nations are going to be able to call you. And we know what that word is. Nigga. Go to any country, they will call you that word. Because the Bible said one of the curses is you're going to be in astonishment. One reason why you're going to be in astonishment, because people are amazed at how y'all still exist after all y'all went through. How are y'all still here? All this stuff we got set in place to destroy y'all, y'all keep growing. Because like Curtis said, we don't die, we what? We baby kids. No, we ain't baby. Now, an astonishment, a proverb or a byword. 70 AD, they called us Hebrew. 1860, they called us slave. 1900, they called us nigger. 1920, they called us Negro. 1940, we called color. 1960, we called black. 1980, we call African American, and now they call us criminal. Criminal is just another word for one of these words. If you haven't, please watch the 13th Amendment on Netflix. Very good, very informational. You will love that. Deuteronomy 28:43-44. And the stranger that is within thee shall get up above thee, what? Very high. And thou shalt come down very low. And he shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. And he shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. This happens every day within our community. Why do you think the Koreans, the first place they run to, they don't want to have nothing to do with us, but they run in our communities to get money. You know why? Because they know. Let me tell you something. These other nations know who you are. And they are benefiting off of the curses. Because they say to themselves, these are the children of Israel. They rejected their Elohim. That means they fall under the curses. That means if I go into their community, I'm going to be the head and the tail because they have not been following what their Most High put in place. So there's benefit off of them. Do you know why? They'll tell every other nation to get up and won't tell us to leave because they know the blessing is attached to us. And anytime the blessing is attached to Israel, I'm going to try to keep Israel around as long as I can. Can you give me an example of that in the Bible? Who did that? Laman. Did it with who? Jacob. Laman tricked Jacob, right? Gave him a different daughter, right? Why? Because Laman knew the blessing is attached to this man. I want him to stay around for another 7 years. That's why if we leave, this whole economic system shuts down, because the only reason why the Most High has not destroyed this wicked, sinful nation
Because of us.
is because Israel is still here. Folks is out here praying for Israel. Y'all praying for the wrong people. That's why nothing has changed.
That's right.
But they know whoever helps Israel will be blessed. Whoever cursed Israel, the curse is coming. And they know that as long as we stay under these curses, they're going to benefit off us.
Right.
So how do we stay under these curses? By staying in ignorance.
Right.
Okay. Gosh. Oh. All right. I think I got one more slide after this. Deuteronomy 28:48. We just do one more. Therefore shalt thou serve thine enemies, which Yahuwah shall sin against thee in hunger and thirst and nakedness and in want in all things, and shall put a yoke of iron upon thy neck until thou hast destroyed thee. Isaiah 5:13. I want to put this in here and say, therefore my people are going into captivity because they have no knowledge. Go ahead, Ak. Deuteronomy chapter 49 through 50. And the Lord shall bring a nation against thee from afar. I want you to pay attention to this one. From the end of the earth. Talking about a specific nation. As swift as the... What is the sign of America? Okay. As swift as an eagle flieth, a nation whose tongue that thou does not understand, a nation of fierce countenance, which shall not regard person of old, nor show favor to the young. This is America. Go ahead. Deuteronomy 28:48. 54, I'm sorry. So that man that is tender among you, why do we have black on black violence? It's one of the curses. So that man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil towards his brother, and towards his wife of his bosom, and towards the remnant of the children which he shall leave. It's one of the curses. Let's go. All right, we're going to stop here. It's going to be the last one. Deuteronomy 28:64 through 68. I wanted to let me just put this together and we're going to wrap up. And Yahuwah shall scatter thee among all people, from the one end of the earth to the other. And thou shalt serve other Elohims, which neither thou nor thy fathers have known. Here's it again. This is the second time we're saying it. Even of wood and stone. And among these nations thou shalt find no ease. Sound like somebody. Neither shall the sole of thy foot have rest, but Yahuwah shall give thee a trembling heart. Sound like the people. Of failing eyes, a sorrow mind, and thy life shall hang in doubt before thee. So every day you're in this nation, your life gonna hang in doubt. You gonna wonder if your son gonna make it home. You gonna wonder, my wife always tell me, she get upset if I don't call her on the way from work. And when I asked her, I said, why you want me to call you? I'm coming. I know you love me. You know? But she told me, she said, I need to know if you got pulled over by the police or not. It's one of the curses. And thou shalt fear day and night, and shalt have no assurance of thy life. In the morning thou shalt say, will Yah be evening? And then thou shalt say, will Yah be morning? For the fear of thine heart, wherewith thou shalt fear, for the sight of thine eyes, which thou shalt see. Verse 68, key. We're going to put the nail in the coffin. And Yahuwah shall bring thee into Egypt. Say Egypt.
Egypt.
That word Egypt is not talking about the place Egypt. That word Egypt, if you look it up in Hebrew, means Mitzrayim, or a place of bondage. So, the Lord shall bring thee into the place of bondage. Here's that word after Egypt. What's that word? Again. So he ain't talking about the Egypt before. He said they'll never see that place again. He said into the place of bondage again. Why? Why is he saying again? Because Israel was known for going into slavery. With ships, by the way whereof I spake to thee, thou shalt no more see it again, and there shall be sold unto your enemies, for bondman and bondwoman, and no man shall buy you. Now people look at that and say, well, y'all were bought. It's not talking about that. Because he just said up here you're going to be sold. That word buy means no one's going to get you out of the state that you're in. No one's going to save you or redeem you. But there is coming a redeemer. And that's why the gospel message is important. Because the gospel message not only deals with a spiritual, it was never from a Hebraic perspective, from a spiritual standpoint only. It was also a physical, say physical. That's why when Mashiach went into the temple, he opened up Isaiah 61, and how many verses he read? 2, say 2. He only read the first 2 verses. And then the Bible says he closed the book and he said to them, this day, this has been fulfilled. Because verse 3 and down in 61, because we know, if you want to know what the gospel is, you go to Isaiah 61. Verse 3 and down did not come to pass yet. Because verse 3 and down is talking about a physical, say physical. A physical salvation which is to come. So, be ready. Don't get ready. Be ready.